Question goes first to Raj. Do you support or oppose cap-and-trade legislation, and what do you believe will be the long-term effects of such legislation?
I oppose cap-and-trade. And I oppose cap-and-trade because I think it actually would kill jobs here in Kansas, and it's a one-size-fits-all regulation that doesn't make sense from Washington. What do I support on our energy policy is very simple. Things, again, like this article that point out the fact that we have the second greatest wind potential in the country right here in Kansas. And again, this is where we can work in a collaborative way to create an entire new industry in Kansas. In fact, on the wind energy front, there is a new V plan that is coming together that has hundreds of millions of dollars of private sector investment. Not one penny of public government money that's going into it that is going to build the critical transmission infrastructure lines from western Kansas to eastern Kansas so that farmers can have an increased value of their land in western Kansas, creating jobs, great use of that land, and we can export energy here in Kansas that will light up homes all over the country. And that's not in competition at all with traditional oil and gas exploration. I've been proud to stand with our industry in the Kansas legislature. Unfortunately, under the philosophy my opponent espouses, he would not support those ideas. In fact, we were at a forum in Wellington where he said he opposed that V plan, where he opposed federal renewable energy standards like Senator Brownback supports. They're common sense, market-based incentives to create new energy jobs. Kansas should support that because they're good for our state and our country.
Mike, do you support or oppose cap-and-trade legislation, and what do you believe will be the long-term effects of such legislation?
I do oppose it, and I must say I am surprised to hear that my opponent opposes it. You know, it was largely the premise of cap-and-trade was that we need less carbon, less CO2 in the air. And the last time that issue was presented, actually, in Kansas was when we were dealing with the Holcomb power plant. And my opponent worked very hard to make sure that 1,600 jobs for plumbers and pipe fitters and all kinds of great jobs here in Kansas didn't happen here in Kansas because Kansas wanted to build more energy right here in Kansas. He opposed it. So I'm a touch surprised. I come from the oil and gas industry. I sell equipment there in the real world, and I think this would be a piece of terribly destructive legislation. The last thing I'll say about wind and all the other things is, Representative Goyle suggested I'm opposed to wind. I'm fine with wind. It just needs to make sense. It needs to make sense in the context of all the other great ideas people have for energy. And I have confidence in you all that you will make good decisions about what the next great American energy resource will be. I don't think we need government picking which one's going to win and which one's going to be sent to the ash heap of history.
Well, you would like to be on that? Go ahead.
Absolutely. We need to correct the record right there. I voted for the compromise bill that will lead to the Holcomb power plant. And in fact, the plumbers and pipe fitters who my opponent speaks of have endorsed me in this campaign because they know that I know what it takes to create good manufacturing jobs. And the reason my opponent's surprised about my opposition to cap-and-trade is that he can't get out of the partisan box. He can't believe that there's somebody in my party label who goes against my party consistently when it's right for Kansas. But that's what I believe, and that's what I've done.
Mike, would you like 30 seconds?
Sure. No, I'm surprised because it is the same belief in government being able to pick solutions that drives cap-and-trade. It's the same belief that if we just all have a good feeling and want the environment to be better, then we can make it so, with an absolute disregard for what it takes to grow jobs in America and what it takes to be competitive in America and how good ideas for the next great energy system come. I can assure you, someone in this room, someone in Kansas will come up with that next great energy source without any help from Washington, D.C.